From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Eagles Live, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you're feeling the same. We had ourselves some pretty good games last night in the NBA. We also had the kickoff to the World Series last night that saw the Braves go ahead and put a one-side whooping on the Astros last night, beating them 6-2. That was a pretty good win because they actually won the game in the first half of the game, and then their pitching just held off the Astros for the rest of the night. So you got to love those type of efforts, right? So pretty much Braves now lead that series 1-0. And last night, the Lakers were able to get themselves a victory as well, too, winning that game last night by 3 points. And they played pretty good last night. They made a comeback late in that game as well, too. They were down 12 going into the fourth quarter as well, and they were able to work their way back into that game at the end of the night and get themselves a very good win. So, hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. But let's go ahead and talk about these big games in the Big Ten this week. Let's go ahead and talk about first the Ohio State Penn State game, which is going to be an absolute gem because you have the Buckeyes going to Happy Valley to go ahead and play against Penn State, a team that might have been looking ahead last week when they did lose to, of all teams, Illinois in a 9 overtime game. So they might have been peeking around the corner for the Ohio State game because we all know that their coach is very loves this game in particular right here, going against the Buckeyes, because he knows that they are the class of the Big Ten, and they are pretty much where you do set the bar at. So this is a big win for Penn State to get them back into the New Year's Eve Bowl picture. But I think at the end of the day, but actually, I'm sorry, I said that this game is in Happy Valley. This game is actually not a road game. I'm very sorry for that. This is actually going to be an Ohio State home game. So pretty much Ohio State, tough game in Columbus versus the Nittany Lions. So you have two teams that you feel like you're going to different places because now you have a team that you thought was going to be right there with Ohio State this year, but they're not because they've lost to teams like they've lost to Iowa, and now they go into this game hoping to get things back. They've lost 2 in a row as well too. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to really overlook Penn State in the spot. They're 18-point dog as well too here. So that's going to play into, some thinking, but I think that this is going to be a wise guy play as well too. A lot of people are going to like Penn State, but Ohio State knows that this is the game that gets them back in the CFP picture. They're third in the nation when it comes to scoring points at 49.3. They're getting 559 yards per game. Also, they are averaging 352 yards per game in the passing game and 207 in the running game. So Ohio State's coming in here with a dynamic offense, and their defense is decent this year. They're not bad, but they're not good either. But this defense, though, they've been getting better by the weeks. But just when they started off the season, it was dreadful. But now things are a little different with this team. So Ohio State, Penn State, another classic game, and house divided, as they like to call it. And man, it's been fun watching these games since the mid 90s when the Penn State Nittany Lions did join the Big Ten. And before that, they used to play Ohio State a lot as an independent, and pretty much this game has always been one that does make a whole lot of sense, and it is a big game in the conference as well too. So, Penn State hasn't been there as long as others, but they've made an impact on the Ohio State University, and this is a big rivalry game, so it can go either way. So it should be a good one. Ohio State has everything working in their favor, but that means absolutely nothing on Saturday. This is going to be a wide open game, and the strong will survive. That's all I can say. Big Ten is a tough conference this year. A lot of us need to understand that part as well too. And now we got the battle of the state of Michigan. We got Michigan coming in here as a 4-point favorite, over under 50.5. Then you have Michigan State team that was not expected to be this good, but they have killed it. They had a great effort against Miami a few weeks back, who was a ranked team at the time. They absolutely crushed them. Then they came back with a good win over Nebraska in a game that many felt that probably would be the one that would put them out. And they've been just scratching and surviving the last few weeks as well too, and they just been winning games, and they've got quality wins. So that's something to tip your cap to. And I think that Michigan State's coming in here just like they have in prior years as a team that's a roadblock for this Michigan team. Michigan seems to always get a great season upended by Michigan State. This one right here means a lot because they're a spot back from Ohio State at this point as an undefeated team. That's the killer part of it. And they know that pretty much this is setting up a monster matchup at the end of November between Ohio State and Michigan if everything works out in the Michigan State game. But Ohio State, on the other hand, has to play Michigan State as well too on the way to that Michigan game. Then that's their second to last game. That's two. That after this game is going to be the next game in the next 3 weeks. So they will have to get through Purdue and Maryland, and Purdue has already got a top 10 upset, really top 5 upset, top 3 upset on their resume this year. So, this game is very important for Michigan State moving forward to get this win because they have Ohio State second to last game of the season. Then they meet up with Penn State for the final game of the season. Now, Michigan's course after this, they do have the Indiana game. They did lose to Indiana last year convincingly, but I don't think that's going to be the case this year. Then they have the Penn State game in Happy Valley. That will probably be another big roadblock before this Ohio State game. Then they have a game that could wind up being a trap game against Maryland. So, Michigan is working it out, but I think if Michigan gets a big win this week, they actually jump Ohio State in the polls. If there is a defeat in the top 4 this week as well, too, I think that's exactly what happens. And what's happening now is we're setting up pretty much the Big Ten title for the end of November with Michigan and Ohio State, because the winner of that game usually is just going to go over to the actual conference championship game and rack shop, because I know that it was Iowa, but Iowa already showed their true colors that they will not be able to contend with a very, very, very good team in this conference. You know what I mean? Purdue isn't that good, and Purdue ran them up and down the field, ran them out of Iowa City. So it is what it is at the end of the day. But we move forward, and let's go ahead and talk about the World Series. And the World Series should be a really good one too. We got the World Series tonight, and hopefully we get ourselves a very fun game, because the World Series is it's not going to be a ratings thriller. It's going to be more about, this is more of a Southern World Series, So a lot of the Southern states in this country and some of the Midwest states will be all in on this on this World Series. But, it's just for us tryhards, The Dodgers and Red Sox would have been just an awesome World Series, and pretty much this one's an awesome World Series as well too. It's just not the one that you expected, and really, it's not the one that you want to participate in as well too. If you don't have rooting sides in that, but if you're a bettor, it doesn't really matter. You're gonna go where the value's at, right? And there's a lot of value tonight when it comes to this game. You have a option where you can go ahead and take alternate run lines in this spot, and that will be something huge because right now the spread for each side is pretty high when it comes to the pluses and the minuses. So right now it's shifted to the Braves being the favorite tonight, and their -1.5 is +150. I saw earlier when the Astros were the favorite, their -1.5 was +180. So you got the value there in the spread, but the money line is showing some good value too because you don't have to spend that much on getting yourself, a good price and being able to put out a max bet if you want to. And then the over under 8.5 tonight. You got the opener situation for the Astros who I don't think played that well in that spot. But I think that pretty much they want to give their guy a rest before their ace a rest before they do go back to Atlanta for 3 straight games. And I think tonight this game is very important for the Astros to win. But we do remember this was the same team that was down 0-2 when they went to Washington and won 3 in a row. So at the end of the day, the Astros are one of the teams that you really, as a home team, you kind of get nervous about on playing them in any type of situation. This team is really good. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to see how it shakes out, but will be the World Series game too. Braves lead this series 1-0, and it should be a good one. So when I get back, we're going to go ahead and talk state of the Lakers, and we're also going to go ahead and get into talking tickets. So when I get back, you guys just be prepared to we're going to get to the NBA Wednesday games, then talking tickets. So you guys be prepared for that. I look forward to it. So once again, this is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Kappa, and I'll be right back at you.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Kappa, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great, and we are going to jump into the state of the Lakers, and the state of the Lakers is pretty much telling us that, things are okay. Lakers are now 500, 2-2 on the season. Had a big night from Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis. They went ahead and supplied the Lakers with 71 points. That literally was 60% of the points last night for the Lake Show. But they got big threes from Malik Monk last night, and they got a big effort from Dwight Howard from the free throw line where he was very, very good. And also DeAndre Jordan played some pretty good ball. above the rim as well too. Last night he got a few dunks off and everything like that. But they also got a good effort from the rookie Reeves. He was able to hit a few threes there late in the game because he was trusted by Frank Vogel to do something big. He's kind of now playing the role of Alex Caruso. And pretty much he showed that, hey, you know what? He could be just as valuable as Caruso was when he was here as well, too. So that was a big moment for the Lakers last night, with this team understanding who they are with no LeBron. And, you know, tonight LeBron may or may not play. They are playing against the Thunder, so you might not want to risk anything against the team that's probably going to be the worst team in all of basketball. They did only lose by 8 last night and had an 11-point lead going into the half last night against the Warriors. So this team kind of, they want to pick their face up off the ground a little bit, because, they've been struggling mightily as well, too. So that's why I think that a lot of us have to understand that it's so early in the season that you cannot sit here and think that teams that are 3-0 today are going to be teams that are going to be in the playoffs this summer, because they're 3-0 today. The NBA has 82 games to it, and it's a long season for everybody. Seriously. So we really do need to go ahead and kind of dial it back a little bit on the expectations you may have for certain teams and certain people. Like, they expected the Lakers and Nets just to beat everybody by 30 to start the season off. It doesn't work like that. This is a professional sport. This isn't AAU. This isn't high school. This isn't college. So the Lakers, to me, last night showed some good moxie last night without LeBron. And I think that it was fairly helpful not to have LeBron last night, because I think that this team is too busy trying to be too cute. And I think that people had to realize what is going to suit them best on this Laker team. And Russell Westbrook, especially last night, leading the way that he did, getting his points last night, that was big, because the Lakers needed him to be big, and he was exactly that. He was able to get his 33 points last night, 8 assists, 10 rebounds as well, too. So he's two assists away from a triple-double. But really, that's not what he's here for, is to be the triple-double man. He's here to help the Lakers win basketball games. So if he has 2, 2, 2, and 2, and the Lakers win, I think he'll be satisfied with that. But Malik Monk's 17 points, 4 of 10 from the three-point line was huge last night. And I think that right there is something that you cannot overlook. I think that he's going to be a big time scorer for the Lakers. The Lakers only hit 8 threes last night as well, too. So, when you look at all the stats and everything like that, you really could say that this game should have been won by the Spurs. But the Lakers won in certain categories, like free throw shooting last night. And they also shot the ball much better last night, too, from with the 47.6 field goal percentage last night as well. So the Lakers did the little things to go ahead and get this win last night. But in all honesty, they only 20 assists last night, 59 to 56 rebounds, 16 offensive rebounds, and 9 offensive rebounds. Everything's saying that, this game should have been won by the Spurs, but the Lakers went ahead and handled their business and won this game. And Russell Westbrook last night, he kind of strayed away from shooting too many threes last night. I think that was fairly helpful as well, too. And Reeves gets to put his hand up, as he was the lead scorer off the bench. They only got 4 from Carmelo last night, but Carmelo was not getting the looks that he wanted necessarily last night either. So, hey, it is what it is. At the end of the day, the Lakers get themselves another win. Tonight, they play against the Thunder. The Lakers are a 4.5-point favorite as well, too. It looks like LeBron will probably be sitting out this game as well, too. And probably AD might be sitting out as well, too. He had a little bit of a knee issue last night, shoulder issue last night. He might want to rest a little bit before the Lakers play 9 out of 10 at Staples coming up after they get done with this Oklahoma City game tonight. So Lakers should be feeling good. They've won their last 2 games in a row. Even though those games were fairly close, they should be feeling good, feeling more confident as a unit. And then they run into a unit like this one. This should be something that gets them really off the pine and try to get themselves a big blowout feel good victory tonight. But there are no guarantees. This is the NBA, and any given night anything can happen. So there it is, Lakers Thunder tonight, OKC, and it should be a good one. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our first game tonight. That's going to be the Wizards and the Celtics. The Wizards and the Celtics. Pretty much this was last year's was one of the play-ins or whatever last year, and Wizards coming in here plus 145. Celtics are minus 175. This one is a game where you say to yourself that, you like the Wizards a lot here, but the Celtics should be able to be right there in the thick of things. I think that this is more of a scoreboard watch. I know a lot of people will probably run to the over because you got Boston to score 140 the other night, but it seems like Boston's only doing that in every so often. And pretty much I think tonight this one winds up being on the other side, that I think it's going to be over bet to the over tonight, and it's going to wind up going under. Jaylen Brown's playing out of his mind right now, 28.3 points per game. They got Al Horford back doing his thing, rebounding 10.5 of those a game. Kyle Kuzma doing a good job on the rebounding end for Washington, getting 13 rebounds a game. And then you have Brad Beal leading the way with 21 points a night. And pretty much this team is very well balanced, and Washington's looking like a pretty good playoff team, to be honest with you, this year. But I think that this one right here favors the Celtics a little bit more because the Celtics have really struggled to start the season off, to me, defensively. And I think that this one right here, they should put their best foot forward and playing some better defense tonight at the house after being humiliated at home, losing by 28 points in Boston on the home opener. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But as I said before, I like the scoreboard more than anything here. All right, we got the Hawks and the Pelicans tonight. The Hawks coming in here. This is going to be the ESPN game. No Zion. So, kind of like ESPN stuck with the game, but they still got Brandon Ingram over on the Pelicans side. Pelicans coming off their first win of the season, winning by 9 over the Timberwolves. Then you have the Hawks, who have won their first 2 out of 3 to start the season. They got a good 18-point win the other night against the Pistons, but they did have a bad loss against Cleveland on Saturday. But that means absolutely nothing at the end of the day. It's all about today. And pretty much you have a Hawks team that's playing some pretty good basketball to start the season off. Trey seems way more comfortable than he's ever been as just a total player in control of what he wants to do. He's getting 25 points per game. Hasn't missed a free throw all season either. Clint Capella helping out a lot with the 11.7 rebounds per game. And then Trae Young is also doing something that you have to really appreciate. He's getting 10 assists a game as well, too. And then he still got his boy Jason Collins there with him as well. So John Collins, So they should be real good tonight, but there are no guarantees in this spot. It's an ESPN game. You might see the Pelicans play a little bit outer body because this is a national television game, and they're probably going to get a lot of national television games pulled at this point if they don't get Zion back in in a significant time period. You know what I mean? I know Zion should be out maybe another month, maybe or two, but really you would want to see him on the court now. But it's just, every year it's just a new injury to start every season now with Zion. And, after seeing how he looked in that commercial, boy, oh boy, I don't think it's really about your foot. I think it's about actually getting in shape this time around this year. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, but this should be a good game. I'm going to go ahead and scoreboard watch this one as well, too. All right, now we move on to damn, man, my bad. And we move on to, let me make sure we see the graphic there. And now we move on to the Nets and the Heat. And the Nets and the Heat should be a good one as well, too. This one is has the Heat coming in as a underdog today, 3+3.5 plus 135. That's some good value for you. You got a team that's actually won their first 2 out of 3, got a good quality win over Milwaukee, and also beat up on in-state rival Orlando as well too. Lost to 11 when they went to Indiana, but that's okay because Indiana kind of has, they kind of have a back and forth with Indiana a little bit. Then you have the Nets, 2-2. They've been trading off losses and wins to start the season. They got a good win against the Nets last night. They come back with the back-to-back at home. So pretty much they are looking to, get these 2 wins in. From what I can see here, the Heat are actually the better scoring team at this point. And then you have they're about even when it comes to the free throws, and then you have 3-point shots made, and then you also have total rebounds as well too. That's something that the Nets are doing very well at this year, and both teams are kind of in the middle when it comes to turnovers. And one thing about the Heat this year, they are blocking some shots. So I mean, not the Heat, but the Nets are blocking some shots this year. So man, when I look at this one, it should be a little bit closer on the spread, but I'm thinking to myself that this one right here does favor the Nets a bit more. I think the Nets should be really, really ready to roll in this spot and get themselves a good, solid win tonight. I like the money line on here. I know it's not super value, but it's something that I can work with tonight. So I like it, and let's see how it checks out. All right, so we move on to the Wolves and the Bucks. We got a battle of Minnesota and Milwaukee tonight. These states aren't that too far apart. Now, if they were both in the Central, this would be a rivalry game between these two. Now, you do have Giannis, who's right now quietly is kept, still just being the man, just murdering 24.5 points a game. Karl Towns is almost getting 30 a night, though, at 29 a clip, and then you have 9.3 rebounds. D. Russell needs to be a little bit better on the assists, but he's getting 4 assists a game. I think that this team is a bit overrated this year, Minnesota. I think that they still need to make some deals happen for some veterans so then they can get Cat, Russell, and Edwards all on the same page and maybe develop some type of big three there as well too. They're already a very exciting bunch, but you want to see the end results with these groups because you've seen it a few exciting bunches with the Wolves and they just ain't never did anything. So you got a good game tonight. I think that the Bucks handle their business. The Bucks have came in here and won their first 3 out of 4 games. Only blemish they got is a 32-point blowout to Miami, which was on a back-to-back as well too. They're coming off a good 10-point win against Indiana as well too the other night. I think that they get back home somewhere where they haven't been at since opening night, and they go ahead and get a good win in front of the home crowd tonight by double digits or better. So I really do like the Bucks in this spot, and I think the 6.5 absolutely works in this spot. All right, so we move on and let's go ahead and talk about the Grizzlies and the Blazers. And this is where my dog of the day lies at. I like the Grizzlies to go ahead on a few days rest to go ahead and get a big win tonight in Portland. Ja Morant is playing MVP type basketball right now. If he's not considered for player of the month this month, there's an absolute issue. And it's such a good game tonight. ESPN even picked it up. So we're going to see how this one shapes up. And I think that Ja Morant averaging 35 points a game at this point, 37 opening night, 28 against the Clippers, then dropped 40 against the Lakers. This guy is playing absolutely out of his mind right now. So Ja Morant is living up to the billing of being that dude. You know what I mean? So we're all enjoying it. He's getting 8 assists a game as well too. So that really does look good on the man, Ja Morant, who's trying to turn into one of the biggest stars in the NBA at this point. And I think that he leads his team tonight against against the unit, them boys, the Blazers, McCollum and Lillard, always a tough out. But I think that what happens tonight is Ja Morant takes him to the cleaners and absolutely goes off in this game. And the Grizzlies go ahead and ups and win as the dog of the day. We will see how it shakes out. We will see how it goes. But I do like the Grizzlies tonight as my dog of the day. I know they're not a big dog, but they're a dog. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we move from there. It's that simple. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and take another quick commercial break, and when I get back, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and jump into talking tickets, and I'll give you guys what I'm feeling tonight, and hopefully we can go ahead and get them home. You guys know that we hit 4 out of 5 last night with the super high 5 as well, too, out of 45-1. Only one we didn't get home was the cherry on top, which was the Nuggets at plus 220. So, hey, we just got to deal with it the way it is, and we move forward from there, and we're going to try to get it back tonight. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we're back with the Premier Sports Bet Show. Don't mind my hair. I know it's looking bad. I didn't put my hat on today, but hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's all good when you got some nice hair too. You know what I mean? So I got something to play with a little bit. But here we are. We got the Talking Tickets World Series Game 2. Astros money line minus 115. Astros first 5 innings. Please go ahead and ignore that without the not having a 1. It's the first 5 innings, and also Astros over 2.5 team total first 5 innings. So that's what I like tonight. I think that's will work out for us. Hopefully the Astros don't make me look too bad. Lost a lot of money on them last night. They were the client premium play on the money line, and I also had them to go over 2.5 runs in the first 5 innings. I think they make back up for it today. Now here goes what you guys been waiting for, the NBA Super High 5. This is going to be 24-1. We got it over 219.5 Hawks Pelicans. Also got the Nets minus 165, the under 224 Wizards Celtics, and the minus 6.5 on the Bucks. And then we end with the dog of the day with the Grizzlies being plus 120. This is going to be a 24-1 ticket. Let's see how it shakes out. Let's see how it goes, and let's have some fun today. So there it is. There it is. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live, hosted by the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And, man, I'm telling you guys, the movement is moving. If you got a hunch, bet a bunch. Always bet with your head, not with your heart. I'll be back tomorrow. Mike Abadir will be joining us as well, too, to go over the monster Thursday night football game that's going to be occurring between the Packers and the Cardinals. So, man, I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk about that as well, too. So you guys make sure to tune in. And once again, there is no me without you, and I am the one and only Pop DiBiase, Primetime Capper, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a